Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're here today to talk No Man's Sky, because today we received word on an official release date, price point, as well as details on the Collector's Edition. So No Man's Sky is going to be launching June 21st for $59.99 on both the PlayStation 4 and PC. So simultaneous release on the PlayStation 4 and the PC. That is a win for PC users. A lot of us were under the impression that we were going to see a delayed release date on that it was going to sort of be timed exclusivity to PlayStation 4, and then a couple months later, or possibly at the end of the year, we would see the PC release, but they are simultaneous. This is only bad news for those of us who only own an Xbox One, but I have no doubt, especially looking at Hello Games' track record, that it will eventually come to Xbox One. As an indie studio, it's definitely beneficial to them to have some sort of how should I say this, contractual release exclusivity. There's no doubt that they got some decent funding from that for the game. But moving forward, let's take a look at the Collector's Editions that are going to be available. There are actually two different Collector's Editions, one for the PC and one for the PlayStation 4. Honestly, the PC one is like the legit full-on No Man's Sky Collector's Edition. It's called the Explorer's Edition. It's going to be limited to 10,000 copies, and it is available exclusively from IM8-bit. So what you're going to get is this toy-style, hand-painted cast metal ship. It's a 1.35 scale. It comes with a display base. It's going to have a removable background display, as well as a whole sheet of decals for customization, and also an exclusive traveler pin. So this to me is like the quintessential Collector's Edition. Like if you were really this hyped and excited over No Man's Sky and completely ready to throw your money at it, it's going to cost you $149.99 if you're here in the States. As I said, it's exclusively from IM8-bit. There's also going to be a mystery item packaging with this that will be revealed at launch. What I love about this idea, though, and what I love about collector's editions like this, is they didn't just throw you some in-game content. They actually gave you a physical item, one that is in itself probably really valuable. I mean, this is a cast metal model. Stuff like this is really expensive. Like if you're into model making and the hobby of that, like that metal models are not cheap anymore. They're not cheap by any means. I mean, these are the types of models that you're talking upwards $200, $300, $400, $500 range. They're not cheap. So to have something cast metal that is in the vein of the same sort of toys that were being released around the time that the sci-fi that inspired No Man's Sky was being written and being published, I love that. I love the way they kind of planned that, and they did that. I think it works out really well. And at the end of the day, like if you grab this Collector's Edition, even if you didn't end up enjoying the game that much, you still have a model that's probably worth more than $150 in my opinion. Cast metal stuff is pretty well sought after, and honestly the model itself looks beautiful. I would love to see this thing in real life sitting on my desk, no doubt about that. Moving forward, the PlayStation 4 Collector's Edition, which is a little bit less special. You're going to get a steelbook case that comes with a 48-page art book, an exclusive comic book, a dynamic PlayStation 4 theme and starter pack, which includes a ship boost, bonus resource, and an in-game weapon blueprint, all of which will become completely useless just several hours after playing the game. I should mention that this is GameStop's listing, so no surprise there. GameStop always into doing incredibly weak sort of exclusives. Luckily, these aren't pre-order bonuses. These are just straightforward Collector's Edition bonuses, which is nice to see. I'm glad to see that. As of now, Hello Games hasn't really fallen into the pre-order bonuses thing. It's simply things you'll obtain for purchasing a Collector's Edition, which is something that used to happen all the time back in the day, before the land of pre-order bonuses became a relevant thing. They're also going to be selling other merchandise on the IM8-bit store. It's all up to you. We can go on all day long about all this stuff. At the end of the day, there's a bigger discussion that probably needs to be had regarding the game and its price point, because everyone's going to be up in arms about this. And I, for one, am 100% on the side of Hello Games. There's just so many silly justifications I've seen over the internet, it's impossible to address them all. There are just a million people out there with a million different thoughts on why this game shouldn't be $59.99, and none of them make any sense whatsoever. They're all false justifications built on, perceptions. Built on perceptions, that's it. Built on perceptions, not fact or reality. A lot of people just claiming that all indie games are always like 3 to 4 hours. I can tell you, I've played a lot of indie games that are well over that time mark. And considering the scale that No Man's Sky is aiming for, what we've seen in terms of its essentially seemingly infinite universe that you can explore, There's no doubt that if you get into the game, if you actually enjoy its mechanics and its gameplay components, you'll be able to spend well past the whole $1 mark, which again is not something I really care about. I'm actually happy to see Hello Games going for a full $59.99 price tag. Just because they're an indie developer doesn't mean that their game should be worth any less than some AAA developer just based on that fact alone. And so many people see it that way. Well, they're an indie developer, they don't have a publisher, they develop the games with their own money and time and blah 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 blah. That means that their game should inherently be worth less than a AAA developer who has an insane amount of funding and a big publisher behind them, because they obviously spent more. No. It shouldn't work that way. You know how you actually judge a game and whether or not it's worth whatever it's being charged for, whether or not it's worth, being purchased at all? You play it. And none of us have played it yet. So do yourself a favor, don't pre-order the game. Wait till the reviews come out, and if it ends up being worth it, go ahead and pick it up. If it ends up not being worth it, then don't pick it up. If you need to personally justify the price point to yourself, that's your own individual issue. But there is no reason that Hello Games should be being shouted down or pushed down. There shouldn't be this giant uproar because they feel their game is more than worth $59.99, I imagine. Like I said, that's a perception. It's a perception that indie games should be valued at less. And I've even seen comments go as far as to say that indie developers are getting greedier and greedier. This is why I don't read internet comments, but for the sake of this discussion, I did want to see what people were saying. And it's all just silly gibberish like that. Oh, they're getting greedier and greedier. Let me tell you, the team at Hello Games is a ridiculously small team who has poured probably every ounce of their life and energy into developing this game, into making the game that they want to make. I love the false perception people have that game developers are they're just out there to make money and blah, blah, blah. They're just doing this because they know it brings in cash. No, these are people who love what they do. If they didn't, they wouldn't do it for 70, 80, 100 hours a week for, ridiculous 2, 4, 5-year grinds. You know nothing about what it's like to work so hard on something, to be in that part of the industry. If you're going to go out and say that they're lazy and they're greedy because they feel their game is actually worth something. You create something and then let me come and tell you what its value is and judge you based on that. That's not right. It's disgusting that people are even doing things that way. You judge the game based on the game itself, and it's not out yet. There's so much, of this conversation against hype. Oh, we shouldn't hype something. Well, you know what? You shouldn't start to criticize something before it releases either. Don't do either of those things. Don't build false hype and excitement for a game before it releases and you actually play it. And don't build false criticism for something before it actually releases and you play it. If you want to build your own judgments in your head and, just kind of gather your thoughts as to whether or not you really want to keep an eye on No Man's Sky, go right ahead. You've got every right in the world to do that. But to go out and actually vocally attack the developer because of their price point, that's just silly and disgusting. And it's wrong. So me, I have no problem with that price point. None whatsoever. And no, just because an indie studio starts pricing their game at $59.99 doesn't mean that we're going to see the price of AAA games go up. You know what? That's already happened. The price of AAA games has already gone up in the form of how much we pay for DLC, the introduction of monetized items. It's already happened. We're past that point. Don't worry. No one at Activision is looking over at Hello Games and being like, "Oh, we can easily charge $300 for Destiny 2 because Hello Games charged $59.99 for No Man's Sky." No. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work that way. Like I said, I'm all aboard for No Man's Sky. For Hello Games charging what they want for their game. I'm going to play it, I'm going to review it, and I'm going to let you guys know whether or not I think it's worth picking up. I'm not even going to say whether or not it's worth that price tag. I hate doing that kind of thing with games. I've never sat down, I've never looked at a game, played it, and then said, that was clearly worth $20 less. Because how do you equate a monetizable, value to your perception of a game? Like, I'd rather just critique the game itself and tell you whether or not it's good or bad or worth playing or worth sinking your time into. And leave it at that. I'm never going to mention, the price purchase. That's just not my style. There are people out there who do things that way, and if you want to hear their opinion, then hunt them down. But that simply is not me. Now, like I said, end of the day, the best possible thing you can do, don't pre-order the game, wait for reviews, wait for first impressions, wait for people to stream it and play it. If you then feel that what you see is worth the money, then go for it. Go ahead and pick it up. If you don't, then don't pick it up. And that's simply the end of it. I, for one, am very much looking forward to No Man's Sky. I've liked and absolutely loved that everything Hello Games has ever done. Joe Danger was, you know, one of the first, I guess you could say, indie games that I ever played, that I really ever got into, I guess you could say, and I absolutely loved that series. It was just so much fun, and I actually had the fortune of meeting members of Hello Games at the very first PAX East when they were first showing off Joe Danger, and I got to play it on the PlayStation 3, and they were just an awesome group of people, and I'm 100% on board to throw my money at a project that they've done, to take that risk, to find out if it's any good, because I think they're extremely deserving of it. If you have any thoughts of your own regarding No Man's Sky, its release date, the collector's editions, its price point, I know you're going to leave them anyways. Feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Remember what I said? And, you know, come June, we'll all be sitting down playing this game, and we'll find out whether or not it lives up to the immense hype that it's built. Hype that I have to say has never once been driven by Sean Murray or Hello Games. They simply have come out, they've talked about their game as it is, they've talked about how it works, he's talked about the math behind the procedural generation, and he's just showcased the game. We've built the excitement, we've built the hype for this, we want it to be so amazing. I'm sure Sean Murray and team want it to be amazing as well. I'll see you in the next one.